the Nighttime Show Quarantine Edition. With us, as always, is Matt Walker. I'm the voice of the Nighttime Show, Mike Glazer. Our guest today is best known for his work in the enormously popular Grammy-nominated boy band NSYNC. It's Chris Kirkpatrick. And our host, who's as round as the day is long, Stephen Kramer Glickman. Welcome to the Nighttime Show podcast.
It is true and hurtful.
Mike, are you going to
welcome to the Nighttime Show?
Are you going to introduce that bird that we're going to hear throughout the entire podcast too? What's his name?
Oh yeah, that's my bird. Bitch ass sparrow.
Yeah, bitch ass sparrow. I have both of his albums as well.
Does he have tattoos on his face? If he's got tattoos on his face, he's my favorite rapper.
Chris, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. We've wanted to have you on for some time, and this is one way to make it happen, man. I mean, this is quarantine. You know, we're calling you. You're in your home. I'm in my underwear. You're in your underwear. This is all very exciting.
How do you know I'm not in your underwear?
Well, you never know.
If his underwear fits you, Chris, then you've really let yourself go.
Wow.
Ouch.
Right out the gate, Walker. Jesus. Chris, I met you, the first time I met you was with Jeff Ross. It was in some sort of benefit night thing.
Yep, Miami.
You were in Miami. I went with him along to like a party, and you were there, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Chris Kirkpatrick!" And we spoke a little bit that night, and then years later, when I started doing that Nickelodeon show, you were a consultant on that show. Is that right?
I think we were talking about. I mean, I think I helped out as much as I could. I don't know if I was a consultant because I didn't get any credit, and that would help my SAG stuff. But you know, I guess I was a consultant to the point of I just said, no, that's dumb. Don't do that.
Who did you talk to? Who were you? Who talked to you?
You.
It was me.
No, there were a couple people with the show that I was in touch with, but it wasn't any. You know, like I said, I wouldn't take any consulting credit on that because I didn't really do anything. I mean, I thought it was going to be huge. Like I thought, oh, this is great. Glickman says this is going to be fun. He wants me on board. And then I realized he's from LA and I got the no callback and it was the no friends anymore.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
God. So rough. Thank rough. God. This business.
Yeah.
It's a dog eat dog world.
It really is. It really is.
Right now, I wish it was a dog eat bird world. That's what I hope. That's what I wish it was right now.
My
yeah,
God,
but either way, then my dog would still be barking, so it doesn't matter.
Well, you have such an amazing. Where do you live? Where are you living right now?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
How long have you lived in Nashville for?
We've been here four or so years. We love it.
Yeah, what's it like there during this quarantine time?
I think God must be angry at Nashville or something because we had tornadoes hit that were really bad. Then we had the what is this? What are we calling this? The Corona, the C-19.
It's a hoax, right? Aren't we just calling it a hoax?
The hoax. So the hoax showed up. We had more wind damage type thing, and then he decided to make it rain like at least once a day. I feel like I'm in Florida again. Like the difference is in Florida, it rained at like 3:00 in the afternoon till 3:30. Then it was great. Here it rains from 3:00 in the morning till 3:00 the next morning. It's just like it's been really rainy, but I've got a two-year-old, so we've made the best of it and had a blast with. I think the quarantine's almost been more fun because now I don't feel guilty like everybody else is out there having fun while I'm at home.
Mm-hmm.
Is that weird?
Yeah, no, I get it. And you've been trying to find. I know you told me yesterday you're trying to find activities at home to do with the kid and do things.
We created a lot of space. We created a lot of space for activities. We've put together about 15 puzzles. I've invented new games, which I never realized how smart I was at inventing games until this quarantine. Yeah, and just I think the hardest part is telling the 2-year-old that this isn't daddy's fault. Like, daddy didn't do this. He's like, hey, I want to go do this. I want to go do this. You're like, no, we can't. It's closed. And he gives me those like BS eyes. Like, this is what you tell me when you say something's broken and you don't want to play with it. And the next day I get to play with it again. It's like, no, this is for real. Like, this is a big dude. Like, you're living through some crazy times that nobody knows we're all going to get what's happening or what's going on.
So,
wow.
So, Chris, you said that you invented some games and you bragged about it. So now I got to hear, what's your favorite game that you've invented? How do we play?
Why would I tell you that? How do you know I'm not marketing those right now, trying to make money off of this whole thing, trying to figure out how this is going to work out in my favor?
Nobody's listening.
No, there's been a lot of, I think, just, crafty. My wife was just laughing at me today saying, I didn't realize how crafty you were. And I'm like, well, I didn't realize how crafty I was either till I bought all these crafts for you to do and you didn't do them. So I ended up having to do them. Just random things, making things with boxes,
Is there a lot of bedazzling going on? That's what it sounds like to me.
Absolutely no bedazzling. That was a part of my life I'd like to not relive. So let's just pretend like the bedazzle era never happened. Although it's going to come back, and when it does, they're going to look back and go, look what trendsetters those guys were.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, why wouldn't you put rhinestones and bedazzle on a T-shirt? Looks
on an
amazing.
Ed Hardy shirt.
on an Ed Hardy denim suit.
you could get one of those Barbie like heads where you like do the hair on the heads and teach your kid how to do the braids. Do some braids. Show them how to really do the hair.
Can you write that real quick? I'm writing that down. This is another thing. That should be one of the NSYNC merch stuff that we come out with now. Braid Chris's hair.
Oh yeah,
genius. Genius.
It would crush. It would crush right now. Are you kidding me?
I love this.
Yeah. You had some iconic looks during the years where did the origin of some of these looks come from? The styles. Where did some of these styles come from?
Well, if you're talking, I'm assuming you're mostly talking about the braids. A lot of it actually came from Europe, because we started out in Europe and we were over in Europe for a really long time, and we were doing stuff over there. I remember one show we wore snowboarding boots on the stage. God. Because we were, and it's not because we thought they were so cool, but because there was a cheap company in Germany that gave us like tons of free stuff, and some of the free stuff that we picked out were snowboarding boots, and we're like, dude, these are so cool. Let's wear these on stage. And that's how that happened. And then we had goggles, and I'm like, goggles look stupid. I can't see out of goggles, but if I put them on my head for no apparent reason, and looking back on it, I had a bunch of the old stuff. I had goggles on my head. I'm like, I never once had those goggles on my eyes. Like, it was basically a dude's version of a headband.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because that like set some real trends. I mean, in that movie with Seth Green, Can't Hardly Wait, he wears those goggles on his fucking forehead the whole movie.
Yep, he's welcome. He owes me that. David Spade said his hair from Joe Dirt was directly derivative off of my braid weird look that I had, and then he goes, no, but let's make it a mullet. I'm like, see, that's why you're a genius, David. That's why you do what you do.
Now, awesome. In a group like yours that was so much more about more than just the singing, it's about a performance and dancing. Because how do you dance in snow boots? Was that hard to do? Like, were you able to do any of the stuff that you would normally do on stage?
Hell no. We did that maybe one show. We thought, hey, let's do it. They look so good. Afterwards, we're all like icing our ankles going, what a stupid idea. That was so dumb, Joey Fatone. Why would you tell us to do that?
Fucking Fatone.
That does sound like Joey. It sounds like Joey.
Joey was our scapegoat. Joey had zero ideas, but if it went wrong, they were all his ideas.
Let's take a little walk through this group of guys that are all so iconic. You got there. Everyone you worked with during that period are there. Every single person. They're all fucking huge, iconic people. It's an extraordinary thing. Like, what was Fatone like? How did you meet him? What was the beginning of that friendship like? What was he like?
Okay, first of all, that question just got thrown out because the fact that you said we worked with all these iconic people, and the first person you asked me about was Joey Fatone.
Look, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Let me.
He was on The Masked Singer. Okay, he was on the.
He was the voice of the Family Feud for 2 seasons.
Yeah. So Joey is one of my best friends on the planet, and I love to make fun of him more than anybody. But Joey's like he's got an amazing set of skills, and Joey is very, very outgoing. He's very charismatic, and he's always fun. I think I'm the funniest person on the planet, but I've been out with him going, man, he's pretty funny, but it's only because he's charismatic and he meets everybody. He will do anything. And I mean that, and I won't even go on with that. He will do anything. And, but he's just he's so talented in what he does. And like I said, that's such a crazy set of skills that he has to be so talented. But we've also got Lance had an amazing set of skills. JC had an amazing set of skills. Of course, Justin has an amazing set of skills. I'm funny. Like there's a lot going on with the 5 of us being in a band that worked in the band's favor. Like we were all Swiss Army knives, but in major directions. So, if anything ever came up, everybody had such a great skill set and whatever came up that we had no problems any time in our careers because we just always adapted. We always kept each other in check, and one person could all step up and say, hey, listen, you guys aren't good at this part. Let me show you what to do. And the other 4 would listen and say, okay, Lance, this is what we need to learn from you and what you do. Joey, this is what we need to learn from you and what you do. So we all had an amazing set of skills, and they all just, it was the perfect storm. The way the music hit, the timing, the music we were putting out, the band look, everything that we had was just a perfect storm, and it worked out in our favor. And I can't say enough how much it's a blessing. And those 4 guys are 3 brothers and a sister to me. It's amazing.
So it sounds like you're saying that with a certain set of skills that Liam Neeson was the 6th member of NSYNC. Is that correct?
Liam Neeson was the Lou Pearlman. He was the silent 6th member. That basically just took a part of what we were doing without doing it in his set of skills.
Literally taken. I love it.
Holy
Literally
shit!
Taken.
Yeah, Steve,
Yeah.
You know what it's like. You played basically him as a character.
Basically, except in some ways, not as big an asshole, and in other ways, maybe
even bigger of an asshole.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know what your research was for that character. Like, did you go out and like Google Lou and like just find mannerisms or things that he would say, or are you one of those actors that just went willy nilly and were like, you know what, I'm going to do this with my own? And
No, I actually went to Sony and asked them if there was a producer I could spend the day with to like learn about the business, and the guy that they assigned me to was a huge asshole, and was yelled and screamed at people and threw stuff and told me a lot of fucked up stories about the industry and things he had worked on, and I was like, oh, all right, so that helped kind of push it a little bit, and then I told them I wanted the character to be like the white Puff Daddy.
The white Puff? What?
I was like,
I was thinking you were going to Rikers or something, talking to Lou, sitting down with Lou and just going, feed me right now. Just feed me this energy that you have. I'm going to become you on stage and
Steven,
Daddy.
Puff Daddy and Suge Knight. It was
Steven
because he had that making.
Suge Knight, that's a whole nother level. Like, we're not even going to go there. I'm not even going to talk about that right now because I have a child. I would love to see him turn 18 years old.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Steven was more like the Stay Puffed Daddy.
Wow.
He's too much sugar night.
The boy band guys just fell asleep and they said, don't think of anything right now. Whatever you do, don't think of any kind of manager. Did you think of something? Glickman walks out. What's up?
I actually had a run-in with Suge Knight right around the time. Yeah,
You mean run over?
I was not run over. No, I was at Mel's Diner. I had just gotten cast in the Nickelodeon show, and I went into the bathroom. I was drunk. I got very drunk, and I walked from the Comedy Store to Mel's Diner. I went into the bathroom and to like maybe throw up because I was like so drunk. And I walked in, and Suge Knight was in the bathroom, and I looked at him and I went, "You Suge Knight?" And he went, yeah. And I went, I'm Steven Glickman. I'm being on Nickelodeon. And he went, all right. And then he just walked past me and like walked out of the bathroom. And I was like, okay. So I was like, that just happened.
So what I've learned from this is when you're drunk, you sound like Ali G.
Yeah.
And tonight, it's amazing. It's amazing. Borat. I'm going to be on the show Nickelodeon.
Then I went back to my table to like sit with the other comedians, and I'm like sobering up, and Suge Knight was walking out of the restaurant, and as he was walking past me, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, congrats, bitch, and then kept walking. And everyone at the table was like, you know Suge Knight? It's like, I know Suge Knight.
You're a made man. Holy cow, who would have known?
Yeah.
We were doing, I want to say it was like the Grammys or something in LA. And I flew my mom out because I wanted my mom to experience all that. And she had a great time at it. And we went to this after party. And we were at this after party. And I guess Suge had bull rushed his way in with a bunch of his guys or something like that. And I'm on the dance floor with my girlfriend at the time. And my mom's out there having fun. And I'm like, my security comes up. All right, we got to go. Suge just bulldozed his way in or something to that accord. And I'm like, all right, Mom, I don't know anything about this. I'm like, but we got to get out of here. Suge Knight is here and it could get crazy. My mom goes, what is a Suge Knight? What are we doing here with this Suge? I'm like, come on, Mom, let's just get out. And we safely get out. I wish he would have put his hand on my shoulder and been like, talk about street cred.
Oh,
good luck.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I'm not going to make fun of you anymore. Holy cow. you know people.
Now,
you know people.
Watch out.
Suge Knight touched you.
Hey, Matt, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for our Neft Vodka Moment. At Neft, they say life is a story, make it a good one. Well, we are all about good stories at the nighttime show. Do you have any specific stories you'd want to tell?
I loved it when we had Lisa Loeb on the show.
Oh, God, that was the best.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about having Lisa Loeb on the show is we surprised the audience. We had 200 people in the audience at the Hollywood Improv, and it was our 100th episode of the show. And we started the show by saying...
Started asking, should we continue doing the show? Should we stay doing the show? Or should we go?
Yeah.
And then we got somebody to say, you should stay. And they're like, is that Lisa Loeb out there saying we should stay?
And then Lisa Loeb came up on stage and sang
Stay,
her song, her big hit song from the 90s. And so, I mean, it was a big deal to us. And it was also the first time we'd ever really had a musical performance of that caliber happening on stage. We all were staring at each other while she was like, you say, only hear what I want to. We were losing our our minds, staring at each other, and it was cool to have a Grammy winner on stage messing around with us. And just like her, Neft Vodka has also won some incredible awards. In 2018, 200 different vodkas were judged at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and Neft not only was awarded Best Vodka, but took home the double gold because all of the judges unanimously gave it gold ratings. I mean, that is like a huge deal, and it happened again in 2019. You absolutely need to try this vodka. It comes in a unbreakable barrel, which keeps Neft vodka cold for up to 6 hours, inspired in Siberia, distilled in Austria, and winning awards here in America, just like Lisa Loeb. Go to buyneftvvodka.com. That's buyneftvvodka.com. buyneftvvodka.com. All right, let's get back to the show.
Now, just to change the subject a little bit, you were born in Pennsylvania, and then you moved to Orlando. How old were you when you went down to Florida?
I was real young. I was like 20. No, I'm kidding. I was like, I moved down to actually start school, go to college, like when I was 18.
Oh, okay. So you actually grew up in Pennsylvania.
I was about 18.
Okay.
Well, Pennsylvania, Ohio. I grew up mostly in Pennsylvania, moved to Ohio my high school year. So
okay.
I don't want Ohio to be mad at me, but yeah. So I was, what else does my Wikipedia say? Is there anything like cool?
There's some stuff in there. We'll get to it. But no,
I'm kidding.
Because I recognize Clarion, Pennsylvania, because I've actually been to Clarion back in the day.
Get out of here! You've been to Clarion?
There's 12 people there. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they should put a sign up that has me on the front.
They
saying,
should.
He made it. He did it. He doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah.
There's actually they would put a sign up with like 4 people on it, and they're the 4 of us that moved out of Clarion.
Yeah, the ones who were born there and left. That's how
One
Pennsylvania
guy's
is.
One guy's doing tech work in Maryland, but he's really cool at what he does. Another guy's down. I think he's a janitor in Virginia. But the 4 of us that actually moved away from Clarion should be on a sign.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Like the motto is leave like Chris.
Then they're like, and then one guy was in a boy band too. We're more excited about the janitor in Virginia.
When
Look,
you got out to Florida, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
We're probably thinking along the same lines here, but I was saying, so you go to Florida, and it seems like there's like a whole crew of you guys that knew each other when you were young, like working at Universal or working for the Disney parks, and it's like there's Wayne Brady working around that same time as you guys, and Joey's there. It's like, did you know a lot of people that then went on to become famous?
Yeah, because Chris, you were in a doo-wop group that was, as far as I know, right, a doo-wop group that was at Universal.
Right. So the weird thing about it was when I moved to Orlando. My dad lived in Orlando, so I moved to Orlando, and I'm like, I'm going to come down here. I didn't know what the hell I want to do. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a marine biologist. I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to be in music. I wanted to be an actor. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. And I realized I'm not good at any of those things. So I was just like, whatever somebody will give me at this point, figure out what these fish are doing. It doesn't matter. But I moved to Orlando. I start going to a community college, and I had the worst schedule on the planet. I mean, it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, noon class, Wednesday night class, Tuesday and Thursday, late afternoon class, Saturday morning class. And it was almost impossible for me to even get a job, but I'm there and, I'm doing all these random, classes. And I see this thing on the board saying wanted singers for the choir, mostly guys, because they didn't have enough guys in the choir. So the first semester I was there, I wasn't in the choir. From then on, I got a scholarship. I'm like, man, it was like $500 a semester or something. And to me, that was like $5 million at the time. So I ended up joining choir. And once I got back in the choir, I started doing these quartets again, where I'd arrange all these different a cappella numbers and had different guys come and go. And we do all these coffee shops. And one of the guys that was in my choir, but he was never in my quartet, was this kid, Howie Thoreau, who was in the Backstreet Boys, Howie D. It's like weird that I have to say that. Howard Thoreau, Howie D. Like if somebody goes, oh yeah, Chris Kirkpatrick or the C to the K. It's like it's weird to have to call somebody by their weird boy band name, but I'll do it. And he came in and he knew Lou, and he was looking for guys to be in this new band he was in that they were going to call the Backstreet Boys. And at the time, it was him and AJ were the only Nick. I think Nick might have been there too. So it was AJ, Nick, Howie, and then my buddy Charlie, and then some random other guy that was in it. And they came in, and my buddy Charlie, my band, to go be in the Backstreet Boys. And I was like, dude, you're such a loser. I'm like, we're doing all this cool acapella stuff, and you're going and singing in tracks. I'm like, that makes no sense. But of course, then the Backstreet Boys became the Backstreet Boys. Charlie quit the Backstreet Boys, introduced me to Lou, helped me start my band, then quit my band. So this guy's like the Pete Best. Like, he was in the Backstreet Boys. And he's a great guy. Like, I don't mean to talk shit about him by any means. He's a great guy. But at the same time, he had a problem with the producer. So he's like, yeah, the Backstreet Boys, I don't think they're going to do anything. All right, I'm going to help Chris start NSYNC. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything either. It's like,
holy shit.
Yeah, well, all I know is he was in another band after that, and I hope he doesn't hear this because I don't want to talk shit about him because I love the guy dearly. But all I know is he called me and he's like, dude, I just started this new band. I'm like, dude, you should quit. They'll be huge.
And band was called the Spice Girls.
Yeah. Matchbox 20. It was so great. I was doing tambourine. I'm like, this isn't for me.
Oh man, that's a pretty funny movie. Actually, the guy who like made every band and then left before they got successful.
Let's write it right now. I'll get a hold of him. He's a great kid. Like, he's
so funny,
smart. That would be a way better story than our boring ass story.
Whatever, dude. We've talked to Joey Fatone about the Lou Pearlman, situation that you guys went through, and Lou basically legitimately making himself the sixth member of NSYNC in all the contracts and all the things, like even though he wasn't in the band, he was basically getting everything that you guys were getting, as well as making himself the lawyer in the band and the manager, taking percentages from fucking everywhere. I mean, like, at what point did you kind of see that something was not right there?
Listen, with the Lou thing, it's so funny because looking back on it now, I always, look at that like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where that he goes to the robber's place. He's got the little guy, and he goes up and he gets in the robber's place, and they're talking about divvying out the money. And Bugs Bunny's going, what about me, boss? What about me, boss? What about me, boss? Yeah, what about me, boss? And he's getting all these dollars. I'm like, that was Lou. Like, that was actually genius. I can't believe he thought of that, but he got it straight from Bugs Bunny. But I think the saddest part about everything is the fact that Lou stepped over $1 to pick up a dime. And it really was one of those scenarios where he really was the mastermind behind the Backstreet Boys. He was the mastermind behind NSYNC. And if he would have done everything correctly, he could have been, the happiest person on the planet. He still made money off of his fake stuff that he was doing. But those are the ones that I feel real bad for, because in the end, if you're talking to me like, Lou took millions from you, and I'm like, that's cute. I remember millions. Like, that was funny when I first made my first millions. But, not to be joking about it, but it's the people that he took their life savings from, and the people that have nothing now because the Ponzi scheme that he put up. And it's like, he had the charisma, he had the connections, he had the ability to actually be a genius entrepreneur. But instead, some of these people just see dollar signs and they see all this stuff and they start grabbing at the dollar signs and forget about, who they're screwing over or whatever. And eventually, the floor is going to cave out from under you, and you're going to realize that if he would have done it honestly, I'm telling you, if he would have done it honestly, I think he still would be alive. But I also think that, he would be a mogul that everybody would. He'd be the Clive Davis, or he'd be somebody that's like, he had the vision and he had this whole ideas that should work, but, he just was too greedy.
No, you're totally right. I mean, when you really break it down, like him creating the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and knowing what people wanted, and make and like, he was such a significant part of all those, of the success. If he just would have done that and not also, try to, grab every possible penny from the whole thing.
Not to mention LFO, O-Town. O-Town was a money market, and O-Town. I actually I do a trivia show on Monday nights, and I've had AJ on, and we've talked about this, and I just had Jacob and on, and we were both like, it was so crazy to talk to AJ about it because AJ went through the same stuff we did. It was all the same 6 members type of stuff. It was great talking to Jacob about it because when he did O-Town, it was an MTV production. So they didn't want any of that dirty shit going on. So he couldn't be a 6th member. He couldn't do a lot of the stuff that he normally does. So they weren't as bad off as we were. Like, they didn't have to go to court to get him out of the thing. They had MTV and everybody looking over every contract that he signed. When we signed a contract, our first contract we signed with Lou was me, Justin, JC, and I think Joey. So the 4 of us signed a contract with Lou, and we were a band as him as the 5th member at the time. And then when we got Lance in, we had to go back through the contract and, do all these I don't know. I'm an idiot when it comes to contractual things, but all these, and I'm the oldest, so I'm sitting there. I don't need a parent to sign for me. Just tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it. I'll sign wherever. You're going to make me a musician? I'll do it. But, luckily O-Town had all the right things in place where they didn't have to sign the bad contract because it was through MTV and through all these bigger people that had watchdogs over them looking, going, this guy would scam you if he did that or whatever. So it worked out great for them, but not as much for us.
I think you and the Backstreet Boys, with what your 2 groups went through, I think it sort of set a precedent for other groups coming up in terms of what to watch out for. And I think there were more precautions taken for other groups. So I think they all owe you a sincere thank you for what you went through that made their life better.
See, I don't know about that because, again, I'm sure there's been, if you've ever seen the TLC documentary or all these other bands, it's been going on for forever, and it will still go on. The problem is we're in the music industry. We're not in the musicians. We're in the music industry, meaning as much talent as there out there making the songs, performing the song. Like, if I can get a hold of these guys right now, I can sign them, and I know a way to make it so I can make more money than they do in the long run by just introducing them to C&D. So it's a business. It's a music business, music industry. It's not as easy as just finding somebody talented. And when you first come out, like when we first were, I was again, like you said, I was singing Universal Studios. I was working at SeaWorld as one of those weird photographer people. I was working at the Outback Steakhouse as a waiter, and I was going to school full time. For somebody to come up to me and go, "Hey, I'll tell you what, you can quit all your jobs, and I'll give you a per diem a month to sing or to perform, music that you get to write, music that you have the shape of what your band is." You're like, "Cool, Satan, where do I sign?" It's like you make the deals with the devil, because it's the only deals that are at the table, and those are the biggest deals. So I don't want to say that like we would help anybody else out. I try my best to, every time I meet any new groups or anybody, to get them to the right people, the people that really know, this is what's going to be good for you. This is going to suck for you, or this is a good deal. This is a bad deal. The first thing I tell everybody is make sure you have a good lawyer, because a lawyer loves money and a lawyer loves your money, and they want to make sure that you make a lot of money so they can take a lot of money. So you get that guy, he's going to fight for you. And even if it's a fake fighting for you, he's going to fight for you.
Yeah, man, you're so right about that. That is a
preach on.
Hell yeah.
Seriously. I do.
Sorry, man. It's so crazy to hear you talk about this, Chris, because Taylor Swift went through this whole thing last year because she doesn't have any of her masters because of a contract she signed when she was so young, and just trying to go through exactly what you went through. And it's just these fucking sharks who come out of nowhere to like give you your dream, but kind of take it from you at the same time. It's wild to hear you talk about this.
So what do we do about that, though? Do we start a company? Because everybody starts companies, everybody starts labels, everybody starts production, everybody starts other things. But do you start a company that, I had a company, working class industry, and it basically was that. I'm like, we're here for the working man, which is the musician. We're the guys that are out there putting the hits out. Everybody should get their cut. Everybody should get their fair pay. But that's the thing, fair pay. What's fair pay? What's fair pay to you? Just because you've got the connections, what's your percentage? Like, what do you want? But let's lay it all out there. Let's make it all, in black and white. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing. This is what I think I deserve. And then you have people that can argue for everybody going, well, we could get somebody else to do this, and he knows this person, so it doesn't make as much sense. But it's so hard because it is a business. And, you're looking at now all these, for a while it was tech companies started to blow up. And now it's influencers. Like influencers, it's almost a joke to me, but as long as they've got the right people and as long as they know their market and know what they're doing, if kids are paying for it, then good for them. Like the term influencer to me is like the term boy band. It's one of those things that you're like, oh God, I guess that's what I am, but it's really weird here. It's like, nails on a chalkboard. It doesn't sound right. It's not what we did. If you want to go back and call the Jackson 5 a boy band, if you want to call New Edition a boy band, it wasn't boy bands until it was a bunch of white guys trying to sell posters and bed sheets to middle America. And that's what sucks. How do you find the people you trust? Because as much as you come up with these concepts, there's people out there going, hey, you know what? I got an idea. Let's pretend like we're coming up with these concepts. Let's tell everybody this is a safe haven. As Lou Pearlman was Papa Lou. He was a guy I trusted. Right before he got imprisoned.
Imprisoned. let's go with imprisonated. I think that's
imprisonated. All right, the whiskeys are kicking in. Imprisoned. That's how fake he was. He wasn't in prison. He was imprisoned. So, but right before he got imprisoned, I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to give my money to Lou. Like all this extra money, I trust him with everything because he was this trusting guy. He was this guy that was Papa Lou. I didn't know airships weren't there. I didn't know Transcontinental Airlines was not a real airline. It's like you have business people that are so good at what they do. They can milk water out of a rock and find a way to make these things happen. And you've got these wide-eyed musicians who have great songs. And if somebody goes, hey, listen, here's how much money do you make a month? They're like, $300. Here's $20,000 for you to do this. They're like, okay, what do I have to do? Is this sex scenes? Or what am I, they'll sign lives away. What I've done.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, but they'll be out there. You'll find them.
Hell yeah. Only famous Chris Kirkpatrick. Here we go.
There we go. Yeah,
CK will make your day.
That's so funny.
Hey, real quick before we continue the show, I want to talk about a third-generation, family-run business that I am very proud to be working with. Sennheiser is the top tier microphone company in the world, and we are so lucky that we are now recording our show using Sennheiser microphones and their headphones. It's awesome.
We're talking into Sennheiser MD42 microphones and using Sennheiser HD25 headphones, and these sound amazing.
I mean, listen to Mike Black's voice.
Listen to the rich and sumptuous soundscape that comes out of my voice.
Oh.
Every time I speak into a Sennheiser.
Absolutely. Go check out their microphones and their sound equipment over at Sennheiser.com. All right, let's get back to the show.
Now, Fatone started at some point the what's it called? The fucking Joey's hot dog, the hot dog.
The fat ones.
Ones.
Yeah, fat ones. Which I thought in this day and age, we're all looking for like low calorie stuff. Let me go to a hot dog place called Fat Ones. That means I'm just giving up. At this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just giving up. I know it's his last name, but I know I'm just giving up at this point. Fat ones, hot dogs.
Fat ones, hot dogs.
Pump
It's
the
so
lard
great.
right into
It's
my veins.
so-
And he said the slogan is "Put a fat one in your mouth."
But see, that's different. What? Yeah, see, that's different. What I'm thinking about is the calorie count and all this.
Oh yeah,
What Joey's thinking about is sex.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically
Well, like
all he does.
speaking, I was gonna ask you what brands or things you pulled together throughout. I know that you had a clothing line at some point during this whole thing throughout this
NSYNC
time.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but let's go in that direction for just a second. When it comes to sex and it comes to being on tour and it comes to being in sync and it comes to this fucking giant life, you got to tell me. I want to hear best story and I want to hear worst story.
I like how you had a direction you were going with that, and then you're like, no, you know what?
No, fuck this.
Really want to
I don't
know.
want to talk about t-shirts.
I want to
I don't
know
wanna
about
talk
this
about
boy band. I want to know about this boy band pussy thing that's been out there and been like going on. Well,
I want to hear the worst sex story that happened on tour and the best sex story that happened on tour.
it depends on by which person. Who do you want to hear the worst sex story about? And if you say Timberlake, I'm ending the call.
No, I want to hear about you.
Mine, my best sex story. Here was the problem. So when we started out, I'm one of those weird guys that likes to fall in love, right? And
Sure.
as cheesy and dumb as that sounds, the problem is through most of our careers, I ended up having girlfriends against Lou Pearlman's wishes. Who Lou Pearlman would be like, oh, okay, the first thing you guys need to do is not have girlfriends. Every girl wants to feel like they could have you as a boyfriend. So, and if I could change subjects just slightly, there were rules. There were rules about Lou Pearlman's boy band. And it's so funny now to talk about him, like to be like, when Lou and I first started talking, he looked at me and said, wow, that's an ugly son of a bitch. I hope he's got some good looking friends. And I'm like, I do. Trust me. I've got some good looking friends. So, there were rules. There were things like, I don't want, no tattoos. We don't want tattoos. We don't want some tattooed guy. And I remember Take That was big, and Take That was just, at their pinnacle. And Robbie Williams had all these tattoos. And I'm like going, I fucking love Robbie Williams. Like, Robbie Williams is me. Like, I love this dude. And he's like, no, Chris, no tattoos. Look, he shaved his head. You have to have perfect hair. And he used to do the weirdest thing, which looking back, knowing that he had this fetish and was gay or whatever, he'd always be like, guys, let me see. Look at these abs. Like, he'd lift your shirt up and be like, look at these abs. Look at these abs. Now, granted, he did it as much to me because abs is plural and I had ab. And he was like, he didn't want to brag about anything I was bringing to the table. So, but it's just this weird, this whole no girlfriends, no tattoos, clean cut. He had this whole image. And from day one, I fought that more than anything. And I always was like trying to go against everything he always said. So he'd say, I want to be clean cut. So I'm like, all right, fuck, I'm going to do dreads. And then he's like, all right, but I want to do no girlfriends. And I'm like, well, fuck it. Here's my new girlfriend. She's beautiful and I love her and I care about her. And he's like, and no tattoos. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, here we go. Like, let's start with the tattoos. So I started getting tattoos and all this stuff. But so when we were on tour with the girl situation, it was always weird because I had, girlfriends, or I had, especially when our whole career, there were 3 girls in my life. And, each one of the 3, I always was like cool to. And that was always my thing. And I always like to be at a hockey game. I always like to be right there on the glass. I like to see everything that's happening, but I don't want to get in the hockey fights. It's like, I love to watch everything going on, but in the end, I'm still in the audience participating, So with my sex stories, it wasn't as crazy as, Joey's or as somebody else's that, were going on. But I mean, they were not even decent, It was like, I'm embarrassed on that side of it, and then I'm sitting there with dreads and a tattoos, going, yeah, well, I had sex with my girlfriend. It was great last night. Not like, remember when we were in New York and I got shit faced and ended up on Molly, and that wasn't just a drug, it was just like, it was like whatever.
Two Mollies, one in both in your mouth.
Yeah, 2 Mollies, one in my mouth and one in her mouth.
Now, speaking of you,
wow.
Speaking of you getting
hey,
shit-faced,
be careful
Chris.
though. My sister's name is Molly, so it's messed up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, speaking of you being shit-faced, we've heard a story about you and Pat O'Brien that involves a lot of alcohol. So can you just sort of relate it to us real briefly on this show, because it's very entertaining?
Did Joey tell you that show? Did that song?
Well, not. Joey told us the story, but so did Alfonso Ribeiro, and so did Nick Lachey, and so did Pat O'Brien. So we'd like to hear your side of the story.
Let's just say I'm not a golfer. I golf okay. I just golfed yesterday. I think I shot a guy in his leg, but it was like I like to golf, and I'm not good at it, but it's a fun little sport. It's like bowling, pool, ping pong, anything that is stupid, but if you have a special set of skills, again, Liam Neeson, you could be good at it. So I like to go out and drink and smoke cigars. And that particular time we were in Jamaica for Pat O'Brien's thing. And that was when I just started golfing. So I was really bad at golfing. So I was really good at drinking. And I got shit faced. I mean, I almost called it a jersey, but I guess in golf they don't call their golf shirts jerseys because they're pussies. But it was my golf shirt was filthy because I was doing sand angels. I was doing all this stuff. I had a cone on my head. It was really bad. And we got to the 18th hole, and I shot a pretty good shot down there. And Pat O'Brien came down, and Pat O'Brien is one of my favorite people on the planet. I think he's a legendary sportscaster. I've always except for when he did Access Hollywood or what he did, it was like, you know what, Pat, I've always respected him and I always love what he does. And I considered him a really good friend. And he came down and I was wasted, and he starts talking trash to me, just like, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, my favorite sport is hockey. Like, hockey is number one. All my good friends that were famous in our heyday were all hockey players. So I love hockey. So he comes down talking all this smack. And I'm not going to take this. I'm like, golf is like hockey without the goal. I'm like, I'm going to. So I run over to Pat, and I still like to fight a lot or rap a lot, whatever. And I grabbed his shirt and I pulled it up over his head, getting ready for a fake hockey fight. And I went to kick him, and I kicked him square in the nuts. And that, as a man, is not good. Like, that is one thing that you do not do. I will preface it again saying I did not mean to kick him in the nuts. I meant to knee him in the stomach, but my leg did the test where he hits you with the hammer and you're just leg down. I kicked him in the nuts, and I kicked him hard, and he went down. And all I remember is him going, NSYNC will never be on Access Hollywood. Like, he was pissed off. He was to the core pissed off at me. And I was still kind of laughing because I'm like, you little bitch, like, whatever. Couldn't take a knee to the balls or whatever accidentally happened. And I felt so bad.
Were you wearing golf spikes?
I didn't kick him with my spikes.
Okay.
Like, you have to understand, like, visualize his shirt, his head, me with him in a headlock, and then kneeing him in the stomach, and my leg went through and kicked his nuts.
Oh,
the spikes are still sticking out. Like, he wasn't on the ground, spread eagle, and I stomped on him. This was an accidental type thing, and I felt horrible. I felt horrible the minute it happened, especially when he was screaming NSYNC will never be on Access Hollywood again. And I felt horrible when it happened. And then when the comedian that night decided to bring it up and talk about it, and I felt like 2 feet tall. Like, it was such an accidental thing. And to this day, I regret it. But I did send him a cake to Access Hollywood, which was 2 golf balls with a cleat in the middle of it, saying, I'm so sorry. And I still love him to this day.
Oh,
Wow.
Have you seen him
That's
since
my
then?
story, and I'm sticking to it.
Have you seen him since
That's
then?
an
Have I seen him
extraordinary
since?
Yeah.
Hell no, he doesn't return my calls. I like his posts on Instagram and Twitter, and he's just like, "How did I get deleted again?" Like, it's like,
when we asked him about it, he said that he gets to brag to his children and his grandchildren, I believe, that at one point one of the guys from NSYNC kicked him in the balls, and that.
So hold on a second.
He gets to brag about it.
That's like Eminem talking trash about you in one of his songs. Like that's like Pat O'Brien has done some of the most amazing sportscasts, like Wimbledon, anything he's ever done. Like I've seen some old stuff, and you see Pat O'Brien interviewing a guy. If me kicking him in the nuts is a bragging point, I've done pretty good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
And
I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of who I've become.
And you were,
Absolutely.
and we should point out, you were name dropped by Eminem in a big song. Now,
huge.
How much of that was an actual feud, and how much of it is just that your name happened to rhyme with what he wanted to say at the time?
Okay, first of all, my name happening to rhyme with what he wanted to say. I don't know how he rhymed that. First of all, I think it was. I am one of the biggest Eminem fans on the planet. Like, he is by far, like, even though I think he hates me, I'm still like, there are certain people that I meet in the business, and if they hate me, I'm like, I'm never watching that show again. That guy called me a dick, or that guy doesn't like me, or that guy whatever. Eminem can talk any trash he wants, and to do it in a song, if you really think about it, like, he kind of, in a weird way, gave me a compliment in that when people think of the band NSYNC, they'll go, "Oh, I remember that band. It was Justin, JC, Joey did a bunch of weird things. Then there was the gay one. What a great band, right? Yeah. Those guys were awesome. Like, nobody will ever even remember me. But the fact that I'm in an Eminem song that will go on forever, and kids, my grandkids will go, "Hey, that's my great grandfather that Eminem wanted to, say that he can get your ass kicked." You're like, "Yep, that was me." Well, I'll be dead, but I'll be like, "Yeah, that was me up in heaven," whatever. But that was the ultimate moment for me. Except when I first heard it, I thought I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Like, we were coming back from a show in Miami, and somebody goes, "Yo, you heard that new Eminem song? He calls you out." And then I'm like, "Yeah, he always does. NSYNC rhymes with everything. He hates us, whatever." They're like, "No, dude, you."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What do you mean, you?" Like, Chris Kirkpatrick. I'm like, first of all, it's Kirkpatrick. There's no Kirkpatrick. It's Kirkpatrick. Second of all, what the hell could rhyme with Chris Kirkpatrick? And then I guess get your ass kicked. I never went up in school. That never came up. There were many other things that rhymed with Chrissy, whatever, Chris, but Kirkpatrick, get your ass kicked. That's why he's a genius.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that the first thing you did when you heard that Eminem name dropped you is you gave him a note on pronunciation.
Yeah, it must have. When you first heard that, it must have been that feeling in your stomach, that like horrible feeling of like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say something? Are you supposed to respond? Do you?
No, I'll tell you. The first thing I did was I went into my group of songwriters, and I'm like, "All right, guys, I need to write a really good love song this time. This one's got to go like, what rhymes with Eminem? Like, I want to make this beautiful. I want to let you." No, what do you do? Like, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I've never had beef. I mean, me and AJ had beef, but that was like, I'll kill AJ. Eminem, it was like, Eminem,
Why did you have beef? Why did you have beef with AJ?
AJ, well, again, AJ is one of my best friends now, and I'm just prefacing with that because I'll tell you all the beef. But we had beef, like, there was always a Backstreet Boys NSYNC beef thing going on. Mm-hmm. And it was always this, it was mostly with the fans, but when the fans talking, and they weren't posting at that time because we had a website. NSYNC had a website. We didn't have any internet stuff. It was a website, but you'd hear like oh well, so and so said this and so said, and I would talk shit like unless I could back it up. And I think, again, going back to the Eminem too, I think Joe and I were doing TRL Live, and Eminem was one of the songs, and I was like, Eminem's like a crocodile hunter, like he loves to jump into controversy, whatever. And I think that's what he saw and took it as I was talking shit. But I really think I was like, dude, I love the guy. So maybe your interview here, he write another song about me. That'd be great, because I'll still buy it. But
listens to the podcast, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Well, he's already rhymed Kirkpatrick, get your ass. He's such a genius. He'd probably rhyme with something else. We're like, yeah, well, I guess, getting plugged by an alien in the butt rhymes with that too. It's like it's amazing what he can rhyme with. But yeah, it's just, the whole starting the controversy and starting, the beef in a boy band. I'm like, there's no way I can come back from this. What am I going to do? Like, I might write a love song about it. Like, what can I possibly do? So I just end it with that.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, a quick thing I want to talk about, Mike Black. I think this is something that we really should talk about. Yeah. And it's a company that was founded in 1983 in Tokyo, Japan. Of course, I'm talking about the Zoom Corporation.
Zoom.
Now, if it wasn't for Zoom, and Matt knows this, we would not be able to do our show. They make the best audio equipment in the world. Which one are we using right now?
We're recording onto a Zoom LiveTrack L8 right now, and when we go do our live events at conventions and stuff, we often use the Zoom H6, and they're both just fantastic pieces of equipment. You plug your microphones in, you plug your headphones in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're a classically trained pianist or a run-and-gun filmmaker or a podcaster like us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do a ton of podcasts, and I can tell by listening when they're using a Zoom and when they're not.
Yeah,
it's the mark of excellence.
It really is. Go check it. Go check out all their stuff over at zoom-na.com. That's zoom-na.com. Be professional, for God's sake. Zoom-na.com. All right. Okay, let's get back to the show.
Okay, a couple last things before we wrap up here. I'm going to name a couple people, and you tell me if there's any memory of any weird interactions with any of these people. Are you ready? Ready?
Wait. I am, but before I do this, do you already know this ahead of time? Are you like pulling stories out of me, or is this just random?
No. I'm pulling out of thin air. This is a thin air pull.
Good. This can be fun because I can make shit up.
Okay. All right. Christina Aguilera.
Best friend since no. My Christina story is we were at Dublin's, and Christina is probably one of the most talented singers on the planet. And we were all friends because of the whole pop and Mickey Mouse thing, whatever. And we were at Dublin's, and I was at a table, and she came over and sat down. I'm like, hey, and she kind of like blew me off a little bit. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And I climbed across the table to like talk shit. And her security looks at me, and then my security looked at him, and they took off. So that's like basically my only good Christina. Other than she's a local Pittsburgh girl, talented, beautiful. Always have respect for her.
I love it. All right, Britney motherfucking Spears.
Britney Spears. Britney. I mean, Britney's always been cool. There's been weird times, but it was always funny because when we were on tour, it was me and Justin and JC on a bus and Joey and Lance on another bus, and Brittany would always ride our bus. And, it was just, hanging out with her was cool. I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot about her that is really interesting. Like, it's not like, there wasn't any memorable moments that stick out to me, or at least that I can recall as of now. Drugs and alcohol are bad, so I've probably forgotten more things than I've remembered in my life. But I mean, she was nice. It was crazy. I remember when we were doing a show at some I think it was at a hotel boardroom or something, and we just started, and we were the big draw, and Brittany had just released, and we're in this little room, and Brittany and Justin are sitting there, and Justin comes over to me, he goes, dude, I used to like date her when we were in the Mouse Club. He's like, man, she's so cute. I miss her and everything like that. And then they get back together, and I'm like, dude, you never date an ex. Like, haven't you learned that yet? They're an ex-girlfriend for a reason.
Yeah.
Reconnecting.
Somebody dropped out. Give me 1 second here.
What are you guys doing?
Hello?
Okay. Hello. Have the three of you back on now?
Yeah, you
I'm
hang
back.
up in the beefiest part of my story. So basically what I was saying was the little clowns that showed up, I paid them off. We got out of there. The cactus hurting my butt a little bit, and that's all I have to say about Brittany and Christina. What's the next question?
All right. That's great. That was perfect. That was really well done. Well done. Well done. Okay. Now in voiceover, in the voiceover world, you ended up getting to work with one of our friends, Tara Strong, over on Fairly Odd Parents, and did a bunch of episodes of that show. How do you enjoy? Do you enjoy doing voiceover work when you get to do it?
I love voiceover work. I think voiceover work, though, and Steven, I know you've done a bunch, and I've been bragging to my kid the voices that you've got to do. But, you know, it's funny because voiceover work is probably like, I'm not an actor. And voiceover work to me is like actor squared, because when you're acting, it's like it's like singing a song as opposed to playing a live show. When you're singing a song, you have to put as much into it as you can, but you're singing in a room by yourself and trying to get that emotion out. When you're singing in front of an audience, you can see reaction, you can see what people are doing. When you're acting, you have somebody you're acting off of, unless you're, you know, in Phantom Menace and you're playing against a guy with a green screen saying I'm Jar Jar Binks. You know, it's like you're playing to another actor, and you're to somebody that you can feed off of, going, okay, this was his reaction, this is how I can play it. When you're doing voiceover work, you're standing in a booth going, okay, now I want you to be mad at this person that's standing in front of you and say this or do this or act like, wow, look what just happened, you know. And it is really, really tough. It was a lot of fun. I'm a diehard cartoon fan to the day I die, and it was such an honor to get to do it. You know, Butch Hartman is one of my favorite people on the planet, and his talent and what he comes up with is so genius. And to get to do this show before, you know, people didn't know what Fairly Odd Parents was. I got to do Stripperella. We did The Simpsons. You know, doing these shows, it's like, these are all kind of iconic shows that, you know, you've become a part of, and you could still look like a piece of trash like me and look great on the screen. So, but playing off the people was the hardest part, and voice acting was really difficult.
Wow. Yeah. Were you? Did you find yourself on any sets at any point in time that like where you were maybe doing a music video nearby, and then you got invited onto any other sound stages, or you went on while anyone else was taping? Have you ended up in any places that maybe is like I know that Fatone told us once that he ended up on a Star Wars set at some point.
Hold on. He's lying. First of all, so what happened was George Lucas came to one of our shows and brought his dog because she was a big fan. And we're backstage, and George Lucas walks up, and I'm a diehard Star Wars fan too. And I had a pug. I had my pug with me, and he looks, you know, we're all talking to his daughter, you know, being respectful and like, and so cool, George Lucas. He's like, hey, can I take a few pictures of your dog? And I'm like, yeah, are you going to make him a monster or something? That would be epic if you make him a monster. But, you know, we're all shooting the shit and whatever. And I think it was Joey that goes, hey, we've always wanted to be in a Star Wars movie. And I'm like, wow, Joey, way to be, you know, in front of our guest here. Like, way to throw that out. And George goes, I think I can make that happen. And we're like, I mean, good job, Joey. Nice timing. That was perfect. So we were actually doing a show somewhere, and me, Joey, and JC flew into San Francisco, and then drove up to the Lucas Ranch, and got to stay on the Lucas Ranch. Got to tour the big white house with the THX movie theater with a library that has like the original lightsaber, all this crazy stuff in there, and geeking out the whole time over Star Wars. And the next day, filming in front of a green screen, us all dressed as Jedis, like doing whatever. And then apparently the real Star Wars fans go, NSYNC in a Star Wars movie, I won't go watch it. And they've got way more fans than we do, so they had to pull the plug on all the stuff that we filmed. And we still, to this day, I told Joey, I think it was right after Phantom Menace, so I think it was the second one. And I was like, I think we're in the scene, the big battle scene with all the weird alien bugs in the arena. I was like, I'll bet you somewhere in there, we're in there. But yeah, we accidentally walked over like, oh, what are you guys doing over here? We just had a show next door. You're filming Star Wars? Cool. I'd love to join in and see what's happening.
Now, Joey told us a story that I have to ask you about.
Cool. I'll tell you the real story.
Okay, because I am curious. So he said about a year and a half before Lance Bass came out, they were at a party at one of your houses, and everybody sort of was winding down. And Joey said he was like looking for a bathroom or something. He was drunk, and he went downstairs and opened a door, and he walked in on Lance with a man sitting on his lap, and they were making out. And that's what he said, that he found out that Lance was gay. And then he said Lance told him, hey, keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody else. It's just between us. So my question is, did something similar happen with other members of the band, and maybe you guys didn't know that each other knew that Lance was gay before he finally came out to the public? Like, did anything weird like that happen with you?
Okay, so you're asking us if any of us didn't know we knew Lance was gay before it came out.
Yeah. Like when did you find out?
That's pretty funny. That's the joke right there to me. First of all, Lance came out to me when we were doing a thing in Chicago, a charity event, and I was like, messing around with one of his assistants, and she goes, listen, you got to go up and just ask Lance. And I did, and he said, hey, I'm gay. I'm like, yeah, cool. So we assumed or knew pretty much when we met him.
Okay.
And it was just like, first of all, we didn't care. But second of all, the only thing that I regret and feel bad about is the fact that, you're talking about 4 other, high school / early college guys who make jokes about everything and everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And, Lance never came out of the closet. So, they were gay. They were jokes. They weren't ever meant to hurt anybody. But looking back, it's like, man, I wish we would have really known then, because we would have been a lot more sensitive about what we said, or, let them fit in more. There was never any time that, that changed how we felt, because, the funniest story that I always tell is we just met Lance, and we'd been in a band for about a year and a half, and Lance was in the band for maybe a month. And we went back to his school and did a show, and Lance was like, hey, y'all, I met Justin's best friends. I met Chris's best friends, Joey, JC's best friends. I want y'all to meet my best friends now that you're here in Mississippi. We're like, cool. So Justin and I are standing by the door. The doorbell rings, and in walk like 10 of the hottest chicks from Mississippi that we've ever met in our life. Hi, my name's Stacy. Hi, my name's Rachel. Hi, my name's Veronica. We're like, holy cow, we need to move to Mississippi. And then as soon as they all came in, we looked at each other and we're like, he's gay. Like, nobody has that many girl best friends. And it's great. I had a ton of girls that I said were my best friends, but if I didn't say I was trying to get in their pants, I was lying to you.
Yeah.
So, we all I'd asked him a few times when we were out and on tour or doing videos or things like that, because rumors would be coming around, and I wanted to be ahead of the storm. I wanted to be ahead of the rumors. I wanted to be the first one to go, yeah, so what? He's gay, kiss my ass. I'm gay too. I don't care. Just because I love Lance, I'd love to help him out. And it did kind of hurt. He didn't come out at the same time. I understood why he didn't come out. And, when he finally did come out, it was funny. I was actually doing radio in Florida, and I was on the air, and they were showing me the Us Weekly magazine that he said, I'm gay on it. And they're like, do you want to talk about this? And it broke me down because I'm like, he didn't even call or he didn't say anything that he was going to do this. Now it's like over and I'm going to have to deal with all the, backlash or repercussions or everything coming through this. So I just looked at the guy on the radio. I'm like, well, what's going to come out next? Samuel L. Jackson's going to be on the cover saying I'm black. It's like, hey, it is what it is. So what?
Yeah.
Deal with it. We'll work with it. I love the kid. I still love him to this day.
Very cool.
Love it. I love it. Well done. Well done. That's amazing, man. Well, so like, what's up for you next, man? What can we expect? I don't know. Did I just have a stroke? I may have just had a stroke.
Yeah, that's fine.
What?
That's fine. You mean what's the future hold? Well,
what does the future hold for Mr. Chris Kirkpatrick?
I think it's tough now because there was a lot going on. I was doing a lot of shows. I'm playing out with all the cool kids. I'm playing out with, different things where, I'll go out and perform of our songs. I'll perform some new songs. I had a band, Nigel's 11. I'm always performances. It's going to be a long time for the music industry to come back from everything that's going on. And it's tough. It's tough for us. So we're trying to find new avenues to come out with new music, to do new things, So I started anything I could, any online presence I have, my Instagram, all these things. I do a trivia show on Mondays, and then I guess now Joey's doing a trivia show and Lance is doing a trivia show. So we're all doing like these cool, trivia things or whatever. And trying to just find new ways of entertaining and find new ways of staying in the public eye and have people still, recognize what we've done or what we will do. And, writing sections, all this, being a dad takes up a lot of time. So there's a lot, and especially, like I said, in these situations, it's a lot harder before I'd be like, okay, I've got this band. We play all these shows all around, or I'm touring with this band, or, going out with a DJ or going out with other bands or whatever. And now it's, man, I got to scramble and find new ways of reinventing myself. So in the music business, we're all kind of reinventing ourselves right now and finding the best way to put music out there and put what we do out there and make it relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and this trivia night looks awesome.
It's fun. I'm going to get you on there. We're still on boy band, guys. I gotta eventually move to comedians between you, Tom Green,
or boy band producers.
Well, the only one I know is dead, so you'll have to be the second in line.
I'll come on in character, whatever you want.
That would be perfect.
And,
that'd be perfect.
And I think your fans would be upset with me if I didn't ask this question. Is there any chance of us seeing an NSYNC reunion?
Jesus, don't ask the question. Don't ask the question.
Jesus, Matt.
Hold on. Okay, that's Matt that said that. Yes. Matt, just so you know, the fake ass thing of saying our fans. Shut up! You're such a liar. You
fucking asshole, Matt.
Jesus, this is the worst. Actually, we're in the studio right now working on a new record.
Thank you.
That's
all we need to know. I'll run with that quote, and that'll get us listens on the podcast. That's all I care.
Yeah, that'll get me in so much shit trouble with everybody else and like whatever. It really sucks because I do miss the guys. I miss performing with them, and we had a little resurgence last year when we did Coachella with Ariana and everything. And you can't, Justin's a solo career and Justin's doing what he's doing. And there's drama. There's a lot of excessive drama in our band in that we all love each other, but it's how many people or how many girls have you ever met and you go on a date with them? You're like, man, they're so hot. They're amazing, but I could never date her. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, the thing with the band. We respect each other so much. We know that the fans are out there and we know the fans deserve something, but it's just not what we can all do together. It's just not all something that there's too many moving parts and too many juggling pieces to where, it's not in the cards. And I can't say it'll never be in the cards, but I don't want the hardcore fans to go, well, you're dangling a carrot. I'm like, I'm not dangling everything. I'm just saying it's not in the cards right now. Who knows? I'm old as shit. I could die before anything happens, and maybe the four of them will get back together and do something in remembrance of me. So, but unless I pass away in the next 3 years, and I don't want to encourage anybody to murder me just for an NSYNC reunion, but
That would be insane.
Wow, thanks a lot. I just died so the guys can get back together. I'm a true martyr for the band. Let's do it. But that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Wow.
I personally am not going to be happy or satisfied in my life until I get to play golf with you, Chris, somewhere in the world. And you don't have to kick me in the balls, but I will allow it if that is the conditional.
Just so you know, it's not golf unless somebody loses a testicle.
You're so awesome for doing this and for chatting with us and making this Sunday a way more fun day.
Yeah, man.
How can people find you on the internet and the social medias and stuff? Where can people get you?
Well, my MySpace page is like killing it right now. It's what are you laughing at? That's the new thing, right? I am Kirkpatrick. I Kirkpatrick on Twitter. On I don't know what my Facebook is. On Instagram, it's I am Kirkpatrick. And I just got on TikTok, and it kind of pisses me off because I started a TikTok for fun, and I have a good friend, Mitch, and he was my only friend, and I was just making a couple weird TikToks, and thought they were fun. And then I posted a TikTok somewhere, people found me, so now I have like 8-10 followers. How did you guys know me? Like, this is like a private thing that I want to do for fun and just put out stupid shit, and now people are gonna start watching it. But TikTok's fun. Social media is fun.
That TikTok it's fucking crazy, man. Those people are very engaged over there.
Yeah, and it's all over the place. It's almost like everybody can create their own 30-second TV show about anything, and that's kind of the draw. And you would think when MySpace came out that we'd all joke and go, we would have, you could have seen the future and known TikTok was going to be, down the road, but it took, then Facebook, then it took Instagram, and now it's been taken over by TikTok. And, it's a great way. And it all comes back to the music thing. I love music now because there's so many talented kids that before you're trying to burn CDs or make mixtapes or do what you do and get it out to the public. And now you just put it online, and if it's good, people will find you. And so I'll
tell you this, Chris, just to remember, this past December, we put on this big charity event for Children's Hospital, and there was a singer. He was the number one singer on the number one track on Spotify, on SoundCloud, and his song was being used every 8 seconds on TikTok. And we got a hold of his manager, and we said we would love him to perform. We know he's based out of LA. We'd love to have him perform on this charity event. And the manager said, that would be great. However, he doesn't know how to perform yet. He's never been in front of an audience. He recorded the song in his apartment, and he doesn't know what it's like to be in front of people. So we don't even know what a track for him looks like. So it may be next year at some point. And now no one knows who the fuck this guy is. But
during the corona, he's the biggest thing since sliced bread, since nobody can perform, and we can
exactly.
All do
so it's like these guys, these guys, they gotta learn from the Chris Kirkpatrick school of performing. They have to know how to perform. They have
No,
to know
they,
how
they have to learn. They have to learn from the Joey Fatone school of performing because Joey's the best performer. He seriously is. He's one of the best performers I know. He's got the dumbest looking dancer face I've ever seen in my life, but he's a great performer. And I'm horrible at this. I get up there. I'm doing a video one time, and somebody looks at me and goes, "Come on, Chris, you've done millions of these. This is the best you got." Like, yeah. That was my O face for videos. Like, it's like, that's all I got, bro.
I love it. Wonderful. Mike Glazer, where can people find you on the social medias?
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at GlazerBoohoohoo. And I just shot a video for Comedy Central at all of the heinous porn I watch. So if you want to check that out from Comedy Central, it's on Instagram.
It's very funny.
It's on Comedy Central's Instagram, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm all over that now.
Gotta watch that. And then watch the porn. Matt, where can people find you?
You can find links to everything at funnymatt.com, and Chris can send me a message after that last question at mattwalkersucks.com.
Where can people play this trivia game? Where can or go to watch the trivia game?
Yeah, it's just on my Instagram. It's every Monday night on my Instagram. Tomorrow night I got Joey McIntyre from the New Kids, and then I think we've got one more boy bander the following week, and then we'll start working on you freaking comedians. It'll be funny.
Ooh, looking forward to it. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast and listen to our other recent, interesting, and bizarre, wonderful episodes that have aired. So thanks again so much, Chris, for doing this. You're a real pal, and I look forward to hanging out with you sometime soon.
For sure. Nice talking to all you guys.
Thank you, Chris.
You too,
All
man.
right. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to the show, guys.